All right, here now with more is NBC News law enforcement and intelligence correspondent Tom Winter. Tom, we know you've been following this incident very closely over the past 24 hours. Bring us up to speed on what we know about the suspect and what happened here.
Right, so I just checked the federal court system out of Florida, so no charges have been filed yet in the federal system. We do expect them to be filed against Ryan Wesley Routh, who's born in February of 1966. Not quite sure yet what he's going to face as far as charges go, but certainly they could be potentially quite serious. He did point his weapon at the U.S. Secret Service. His background and his past, kind of a mix of different things. So he says in a social media post that back in 2016, he voted for President Trump, but then changed his views based on the way that Trump conducted himself while in office. Went to Ukraine in 2022, very much pro-Ukrainian, and really wanted people to travel to Ukraine to put up a fight against the Russians and their unprovoked invasion of Ukraine. So those are kind of a general sense of his views. His political views appear to be kind of transient. They shift back and forth. He did have a donation to a pro-democratic group, basically Act Blue, which gives to different causes. So where he sits on the political spectrum, a little unclear. One thing that's not unclear is his support, certainly, for Ukraine.
Presumably, one part of the investigation will be whether anyone else knew about this or helped him out with this at all?
Yeah, great question. So as far as any sort of accomplices, or was anybody in the bushes with him yesterday or helping him drive this car that we see pulled over, no indication of that whatsoever, no evidence of that. But the gun is a big question because he's got an extensive criminal history. And so if he purchased that illegally, if somebody sold it to him illegally, or he asked somebody because he couldn't purchase a gun based on that criminal history, it is illegal. There's certain statutes against that. A convicted felon, after they've served a certain amount of jail sentence, that they can't buy a gun. If somebody purchased that on his behalf in order to get around those laws, that could also be a crime. So those are all the types of things that investigators are working on right now.
And Tom, what are you hearing from law enforcement officials about security preparations going forward? We're in the home stretch of a presidential election season.
I mean, the enormity of this challenge. Look, 0.8 of a mile from where we are sitting here in this studio is the United Nations. And so we have the United Nations General Assembly that starts for real a week from today. Over 100 foreign leaders will be in town. The president, perhaps other members, key members of the U.S. political system will be there. So this is an enormous challenge for the Secret Service. We've less than 2 months to go to Election Day. How this campaign now starts to look for both candidates, both for Harris and Trump, going forward as they crisscross around the country. People now believe they can get a gun within eyesight of a presidential candidate. Who acts from here? Who tries this again? Huge concern being talked about this morning at the highest levels of federal law enforcement.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.